Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jane Dorio.
On your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our on the telephone guest this morning is the one and only Dr. Thomas Polucki.
Hi, Barbara. I'm actually in studio. I'm the only one here, so forgive me, but I'm not wearing a mask.
Well, I'm not either, since I'm sitting in my lounge chair.
There you go.
Backyard.
It's a naked event here at KHTS Senior Hour.
Yeah.
So how are you, and what have you been doing with yourself?
I'm great. We had a small gathering over the weekend, not breaking any laws. We have a big backyard, and it was nice to actually have some kind of normal, back to normal activity. We have a big enough yard so we don't have to worry about the social distancing. And it was great just to have people back together again for the first time in way too long.
Well, I think the last time I was there was July the 4th, wasn't it?
Yeah, that may. I know we had some parties later in the year, but certainly nothing since the COVID stuff. So it was nice to have some regular life activities back in our life. Much needed for everybody. Everybody was so grateful that they actually were able to come out and enjoy the unbelievably gorgeous weather and see friends that they haven't seen for months.
Well, it must have been very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's been there's only been one time that I've been in your backyard. And to me, it was last year, wasn't it? Or was it earlier this year?
You were at our 4th of July party. You may have been in January because my mom was here in January. Before she got back to New Jersey just before we started really hearing all the stories about COVID. But so I can't remember. I can't remember. I know our wine trip was this year, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so we did the wine trip in January. That may be what you're thinking.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, we need to take another one of those, don't we?
Well, let's hope, we can as soon as possible.
Oh, that was such fun. It really was.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not bringing my mom out this year. We don't know. We don't know what the situation is. She's, in the high-risk group as you are, and we're not going to subject her to putting her on a plane and bringing her out here. And even if we were willing to do that, who even knows what would be available? I mean, you can stay at home anywhere.
Well, that's true. That's very true.
Look at us.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of it, but both of my kids say, Mother, you stay at home unless you absolutely have to go out.
Yeah.
Sir, yes, ma'am.
You're still walking, though, right?
Oh, yes, I'm walking every day. Yeah, I go up and down the hills here. It's
great.
nice. And then I get on my bike, my stationary bike in the music room and turn the TV on and pedal away. So I'm getting lots of exercise.
Sounds great. The only part about that I don't like is the TV.
Well, I don't have a radio in there.
Okay.
So, and it's too hard to pick up this monstrous one in the living room and take it in there. It wouldn't fit anyway. Couldn't get it through the door. So, okay, Dr. Polucki, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, in case you haven't noticed, it is summer. I mean,
really?
technically, the calendar says it's still a couple weeks away, but it was in almost 100, I think, for several days now, and it is just too good to not take advantage of. Obviously, seniors, if you're going to get out there, you want to get out very early in the morning while it's still in the high 70s, low 80s, or in the evening morning or evening, not midday heat. And as I'm sure Dr. Dorio is going to chime in, you need a little bit of hydration, a little bit extra hydration if you're going to go outside in this kind of heat.
Yeah, yeah. You have to remember also the early morning hours are much better because the air quality is better as well. And for some reason, despite the fact that there's less traffic, we still suffer here in Santa Clarita with, at times, difficult air quality. So at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when it starts to cool down, still the air quality at that time air quality is not that great. Whereas in the earlier morning hours, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, the air is fresh. I was out this morning, and it's brisk, it's fresh, and it's just much more comfortable in terms of expanding your lungs and exercising and things like that. So, and yes, you're right. Hydration is key to all of this, no matter what, and just making sure that you know exactly when you've hydrated and hydrated enough is really important. So we always have to advise our seniors on the senior hour that part of what we do is a balancing act with the fluids that we have, and it's not an easy task for any of us. So be aware of that. That's so important at this time of year, and we're only in May, getting the end of May and coming into June. So it's important that we don't become dehydrated during this time, because we have quite a few months of June, July, August, September, and it even sometimes goes into the latter part of the year where it is not easy to stay hydrated. So one of the things we like to remind our seniors every time we're on during this time of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting because when I was walking this morning, I was walking briskly, but I was perspiring. I really was. I was drinking a lot of water, but maybe that's why I was perspiring. But it was so good to come home and get into the shower. Oh, my goodness. Because it got hot.
Yeah, my rule of thumb for exercise is 20 minutes of sweat a day, because it doesn't really matter what your fitness level is. It's going to take someone who's more conditioned a lot more activity to sweat than someone who isn't. But a good guideline is if you're exercising enough in, regular temperature. Obviously, if you go into a sauna, you're going to sweat sitting there. But if you're exercising enough at room temperature to break a sweat, that's kind of your target range. And if you can do that for 20 minutes a day, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, then you're going to reap all the benefits of exercise, which is kind of what I want to talk about the show. Instead, you see all the news these days is about this virus and this sickness and isolation and avoiding getting sick from the virus, and all those emergency procedures, which are appropriate for the given circumstance. But so many people need to know, okay, so I'm avoiding a virus, that's great, but what about building my immune system? What about building my overall health? What if, there is no viable vaccine for the foreseeable future? And what if this thing maybe peters out on its own? But what about the next one that comes down the line? This is just, the COVID-19. So what, there were 18 before this that we didn't even know about? And what about 20 or 21 or 20, or 300? What happens the next time this thing comes around? Are we going to just keep isolating, locking down, and doing all this stuff and never being prepared for it? Or are we going to look at what we may have learned from this? And that is that people with a healthy immune system, people without any pre-existing conditions, didn't even know they were exposed to it, had no symptoms whatsoever. And then there's a second group that were exposed to it and, had mild fever and mild lingering cough. And then there's another group that it was worse. And then there's another group that actually needed some professional help. And then there's the group that we're all concerned about, and that is multiple pre-existing conditions, compromised immunity. And if they get exposed to this thing could easily turn deadly very quickly. But treating everybody like they are in that group is, I think, a bad strategy. Making everybody act as if they're in that group just to protect that group isn't really great science, but I'm not going to get into that. What I'd like to focus on is how to make sure you're in that first group that I talked about, because I believe that to be the best strategy. And it doesn't cause anything, all it causes is all it takes in order to get into that first group, that you just have this phenomenal resistance regardless of what's coming down, the next pandemic or whatever, is a few simple rules. And that's you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, not staying up late, but getting to sleep when not too far after the sun goes down, and getting up before the sun gets up. Early to bed, early to rise. That's not a new concept. And then hydrating, as Dr. Dorio points out every time. For women, it should be around 3 liters. For men, it should be nearly a gallon a day, especially in this kind of heat. And most people aren't even getting close to that. I have patients who come in with, oh, this hurts, that hurts, I get headaches, I have all these. Well, how much do you drink a day? Oh, I don't really like drinking water. I'm like, well, there might be something to that. Um, but it's a pretty simple formula of making sure you're hydrated enough. I mean, yes, you can wait until you're thirsty, but a lot of people who are chronically dehydrated never have that feeling of thirst. And that is a big issue. And then you can also check the color of your pee. Again, if you're getting to the point where you're in danger, you've already gone too far. It's so much simpler just to set aside 3 liters of water or 4 liters of water a day, and you have to finish that before the end of the day. And I recommend, especially for seniors, do it several hours. Be finished with that several hours before bedtime, or else you're going to have interrupted sleep from having to get up to empty your bladder. But make sure that you're pretty much done with your hydration by dinner time, give or take, so that you have a chance to get through all of those liquids and empty your bladder so that you can sleep well. And then there's nutrition and fresh air and sunshine and exercise and all of that stuff. But that is what we all should be doing anyway, not just in an epidemic or a pandemic or whatever this thing is, but just to avoid, improve your quality of life, avoid unnecessary medical interventions, rely on fewer medications, and just feel better and be able to enjoy what you've worked your whole life for.
I could not. And I think, Dr. Polucki, we need to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
Hi, this is Dr. Polucki, and as an essential service, we'll be open throughout the coronavirus crisis.
with increased sterilization protocols and staggered scheduling to improve social distancing. If you prefer to stay at home, please download my Healthy Living COVID-19 program on the KHTS Coronavirus Experts page. It's a 30-day online plan with healthy recipes, stress reduction videos, home-based exercises, and supplement guidelines to stay healthy throughout this crisis. We also have several home-based plans for neuropathy, diet, exercise, and home-based rehabilitation. You can schedule a free phone consultation at 661-753-9340 and order any of our immune-enhancing supplements from the products page at drpolucki.com. I'm Dr. Thomas Polucki, and I invite you to come out of this crisis better than ever.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
You worry because your mom and dad aren't as active and are finding it more challenging to live on their own. The answer? Premier Assisted Living Community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, now leasing. Located on Newhall Ranch Road, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Your parents can enjoy 5-star amenities and panoramic views in a world-class community. No other assisted living community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with Dr. Thomas Polucki, and we're talking about water and
Other things.
Go ahead, Dr. Thomas.
Okay, so water's only part of the equation. But here's the great analogy. I grew up in New Jersey, about 30 minutes outside of New York City, one of the largest populous cities on the planet. And it was surprising. It's surprising to a lot of people who only saw the worst part of New Jersey, flying into Newark or one of the airports, that something so close could be so rural. It is called the Garden State, and we're known for some of the best corn and tomatoes anywhere. And part of that is because of the geology, part of that is because of the aquifer, but the point I'm getting is that it's so close to a city. We always had fresh produce during these months. And we would have started planting as soon as the ground thawed, and by now we might be getting our first tomatoes or corn or strawberries or whatever. So it's a great analogy about what does it take in order to produce healthy produce, and how does that translate into the current situation that we're dealing with. So there's a few things that are required, and that is, it's got to have sunshine, it's got to have the water, it's got to have fertile soil to grow in. And yes, occasionally some critter comes along, some kind of pest, some kind of insect, or some kind of someone helping themselves to our produce. But it usually turned out that if it was some kind of a caterpillar or a worm or something like that, that it all took care of itself. As long as there was enough sunshine, enough water, enough good soil to grow in, you really didn't have to do a whole lot to take care of it. If bugs started eating any part of your crop, without fail, within a very short period of time, a different kind of bug was there in order to eat that bug that was eating your stuff. And that's what we see in the natural order of things. If you give nature a chance, it's usually a much better answer. I mean, obviously, when there's is something out there that is just really dangerous and really scary, you're going to have to take some extra measures. But for the most part, if you focus on getting enough fresh air, getting enough sunshine, getting enough water, getting enough of the right nutrition in your body, getting enough rest every night, you're going to be so far ahead of the game that most of the scary stuff isn't even going to have a chance to take hold in your body.
Yeah, and one of the things we do have to remember is the psychological impact all of this has had on every single one of us, our children, our older adults, and now we have to figure out how we can roll back into society, protect everybody at the same time, but yet make sure that psychologically they're able to survive as well. And so many of our older adults now, some people are coming out of their homes, but older adults are still warned to, shelter in place and stay in place and stay in your home. And so not that they're getting stir crazy because they know they have to protect themselves, but, it gets pretty hard being isolated. It gets depressing. It gets difficult. And the people are shopping for them. They're able to have Meals on Wheels delivered. This is all great stuff. But just as younger kids are saying, hey, we want to get out, so do the older adults too. The seniors want to be out. And that psychological impact that has on us is not easy to handle also. So we have to figure out how we're going to add to not just the sleep and the hydration and the nutrition, exercise, things like that that we know are going to help. But we have to add to it the psychological side because we're seeing it in our society now, that here it is 2020, not 1918, and we need to figure out the ways of how we can lessen the impact, not only on our economy, but also on the hope that we have or don't have, but sustaining the hope for us to be able to survive as a society.
Yeah, that was one of the points I was making earlier when Barbara said she does her cycling and turns on the TV. It's just so disturbing that the only message out there is how you should be scared to death and not go out, and the death rate is this, or there's this kind of problem in this country or this kind of problem in another, and then it gets highly politicized and it's these against these, and all of that stuff just isn't helping anybody as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a big fan of, we haven't watched any of the news coverage since this thing started just because I don't think it really helps so much. It is just another thing to be scared of, and I don't think that's really keeping anybody safe. It's just really a dangerous situation where all you hear all day long, because you can't go out, you can't go anywhere, is all the negativity associated with this. And it's like there's some kind of a prize of who can put the scariest piece of information out there. Yes, there is a scary bug. Yes, this audience is most affected by it. But outside of that, everything that I've been saying still applies. You need to get out in the fresh air, in the sunshine, preferably early in the day so that the air quality is there. You need to hydrate. You need to sleep. You don't need someone 24/7 telling you to be scared to death of this thing. That isn't helping as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I watch the news, and I watch the news to get the data. Because I need to know the trends, the direction this virus is going, and the impact that science can have on it. So, it nerve-wracks me to hear so much negativity, but some of it I have to filter through and try to get the information out of it that I need as a physician to take care of my patients. So there's some upsides and downsides to the way that it's being presented at this point. I think we will solve these problems down the line. And, as you had said before, I think this is something that we have to learn from so that the next time it does happen, we are prepared. And I will tell you, as you mentioned, I mean, this is, COVID-19. I mean, COVID-18, COVID-17, and there's going to be a COVID-27. So we will be facing these viruses and other microbes that will pretty markedly affect our society again. But we have to learn from what we're doing now to be able to handle it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe strongly that the most important thing you can do is the basics, the foundations, the get enough sleep, get enough water, get enough good, clean, natural nutrition. Get 20 minutes of sweaty exercise a day. Get out in the fresh air and move. And I think it minimizes the risk of not just whether you're going to get COVID, but it minimizes the risk of the top 5, maybe even all of the top 10 killer diseases are dramatically reduced by following that simple regime.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I get in the car and I drive around just to get out, other than when I'm walking.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been going up Sierra Highway. I have found a fantastic fruit and vegetable stand up Sierra Highway beyond Vasquez Road. Oh, my goodness. I've been going up there and buying all kinds of fresh fruits and vegetables. It's a fantastic place, and I urge you to go. Don't buy them from the store. Go up to the fresh veggie stand.
Well, there's that going out in that direction, and then all out the 126, there's all of those fresh produce stands.
Oh, yeah. That's very true. But I'm not over on the 126.
Right.
I'm over on Sierra Highway. So it's great going out there and looking at all those beautiful veggies and fruits, and I've got a refrigerator full of them, and that's what I'm eating. So life is good, regardless of what you hear and see on the radio and on television. And like you, Tom, I don't pay any attention to it anymore. I've been watching a lot of movies.
Yep.
On my on the TV. I've got a section for movies, and I'm watching movies like you wouldn't believe. Some of the really, really old ones.
They're the best. They're the best by far. So I believe that, as Dr. Dorio mentioned earlier, when all the statistics actually come in after the fact, because we've seen that the statistics are constantly changing on this. All the rules of how they're looking at this are changed almost on a weekly basis. The numbers are questionable at best as far as what are we really looking at here. So I am not hung up on what the current statistics look like. But I think after the fact, we're going to find out that the most dangerous part of this whole epidemic event has been the constant fear factor, the constant isolationism, the constant non-stop media coverage of putting fear into this population. You want to destroy an immune system? Don't let them go outside. Don't let them have access to fresh and good high-quality nutrition. Don't let them socialize. Don't let them have any kind of a normalcy of life. Cut off their source of income, make them dependent on someone else in order to tell them what is safe or not. And you're going to have a severe drop in the body's ability to maintain its health and avoid any kind of infectious agent.
Well, that's very true. I could not agree more. Absolutely could not agree more. I mean, if you eat healthy, you get plenty of exercise, you take good care of yourself, you will live for years. Just like me, I'm living for years, and I plan to live for a lot more years.
Well, You are a great example. Jerry is another great example. She was
Yeah.
surrounded by COVID for several weeks, and they can't even see an antibody in her. And what that means is that it never had a chance. That that virus never had a chance in her, and that's what I promote. I promote not the best way to stay healthy is don't get sick. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's the best medicine is don't get sick in the first place. And it's pretty simple to have that, but we don't necessarily do. For several, I've heard all of the excuses all of the time that, oh, it's, McDonald's made me fat. No, you, you eating McDonald's made you fat. You choosing to eat that way. It's not the the marketing. It's not the commercials. It's not the fast food on every corner. It's that you're allowing yourself to partake in that. Alcohol doesn't make you an alcoholic. You drink it, and then you have a real problem. If you have pre-existing conditions, that's even worse. But we have come to a point in this society where we're looking to blame everything and everybody else for our problems, and it really is not that difficult to stay healthy. And again, it sounds like I just keep saying the same thing, but if people get enough sleep, get enough exercise, get enough water, get enough good nutrition, and have some kind of social connection. I realize it's challenging these times, but it is so critically important, especially these people who are at high risk that
Hmm.
are being told that no, you can't visit these people, you can't go near them. Now that's crazy. If they're in a nursing home, these nursing homes have to find a way to follow safe practices to allow people to visit. And if there is nobody in the immediate family able or capable of doing that, then these facilities have to provide some kind of social interaction, something that makes that person know that they're not alone, that they have some kind of support, even if it's not from their own family, that somebody cares and somebody wants to spend some time with them. It's so critically important to the overall well-being at any age, but especially the group that is most hardest hit from this. They need to know, and we see all these um, heroes of this epidemic. I'd like to see some of these heroes stepping up and really addressing the group that's hardest hit by this, the most at-risk group at all, and those are people in these facilities that are being told that no, nobody can go near them. I mean, that I believe is a very slippery slope, a very dangerous situation for these people.
So what
I
is
could,
happening in the skilled nursing facilities, the nursing homes, is that they are using FaceTime for their residents there. So you have that available if you have, and they're even though the senior, the resident might not have a cell phone, they are providing a cell phone, smartphone, to be able to make contact with family members. So that is going on. The bad part right now is if you are isolated because you are COVID-19 positive, you've had the swab and you are, they put you onto a COVID-19 ward, and you are then isolated and you do not have available a smartphone. So that is the problem you are talking about, and that's critical when you've totally isolated the residents in a time where they need their family and friend support. So you're right, somebody's got to speak up and do
that's
something
right.
about this. It applies to the hospitals as well. So,
Yes,
we can talk a little bit more when we come back. This is such an important topic that, we're not meeting in our society because hospitals are doing the same thing. It's even worse for our seniors who get hospitalized. So when we come back, let's talk about that. I'm Dr. Gene Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran, talking to Dr. Thomas Polucki on your hometown station, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM KHTS.
Lots of people can build websites, but there's one Santa Clarita company that specializes in designing websites for your business. Small Dog Creative. The Small Dog Creative team is made up of local designers who are hands-on. Their talented team of experts build premium websites and redefine branding. Small Dog Creative doesn't just build websites. They'll upgrade your business's online presence and turn your business into a powerful online brand. Small Dog Creative, Santa Clarita's most innovative web and design company. SmallDogCreative.com.
CBC Cleaning and Restoration is ready and waiting to clean and disinfect your home or business during these trying times. CBC is certified, OSHA trained, and insured for COVID-19. They are now offering 10% off services plus free disinfection application through June 30th. All staff wears full-on PPE and all equipment is disinfected before and after every job. Have CBC clean your carpets, upholstery, and hard surface flooring. Voted best commercial and residential cleaning company in the Santa Clarita Valley year after year. To take advantage of the COVID-19 special or more information, call CBC at 294-2221. That's 294-2221.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
And now a cooking tip from Keith Mowry from Bob's Country Meats. Everyone loves chicken. It's easy to cook in a variety of ways, especially on the barbecue.
Marinate it overnight in your favorite marinade. Brown it up nice on the barbecue, and then put it on the other side in direct heat. Close your lid. Take another 25-30 minutes, and they're good.
Chicken, tri-tip, pork chops, turkeys, steaks, even exotic game like buffalo and ostrich. For the tastiest chicken in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
This is Suzette Martinez Valadares. Many child care centers are closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The child care providers that are open are serving our essential workforce and finding it very difficult to find or purchase the supplies needed to keep their facilities clean and children healthy. Our healthcare professionals are fighting to save lives. First responders and law enforcement are bravely serving our community. And our grocery store clerks are keeping our local markets stocked. This is our chance to help them. This is why we are launching Operation Childcare. Our mission is to collect donations for local early childhood education providers serving our frontline essential workforce. Donations needed include hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, disinfectant spray, disposable gloves, and masks. These donations can be dropped off at KHTS Radio, located at 24320 Main Street in Newhall, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host Dr. Gene Dorio on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're talking with the one and only Dr. Thomas Polucki. Go for it, Thomas Polucki.
So again,
well, I think our question was about fighting the fight for our older adults, Tom, in terms of hospitals and nursing homes, and making sure that they have the emotional support, the psychological support to sustain them, to get them through any illness.
Absolutely. So much of the attention is based on what everybody else needs to be doing in order to stay safe, and the underlying message there is to protect this group. However, when this group becomes critical, when this group tests positive, when this group has the cytokine storm in their lungs and they are on a respirator, um, all of that all of that is on the burden of those nurses that have to try to keep this person alive from minute to minute, and that is when they need the support the most. That's when they really need our help the most, and I think that's where we are failing. We are failing tremendously. We are seeing the impact it's having on these nurses that are. This is going to be like Vietnam. This is going to be the worst experience they've ever encountered, having to deal with this thing, and I believe it could be handled differently. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I think some of that burden can be spread out. So it can be handled differently. I think we will have better outcomes if we can give these COVID patients and these critical care uh, physicians and nurses a little bit better support system, because they are essentially, once you're in that situation, it's a very private group. It's a very small situation. You don't have the support that I think would make a huge difference in the outcomes here.
So let me as a physician, I have friends back east. I contact them on almost a daily basis. That I either talk or email and get into discussion groups, and they have been markedly impacted and in their attempts to save lives in order to get them through that cytokine crises that they end up having. But many of them, because of the fear and the lack of the ventilators that were necessary and needed, and they sometimes did not have them in their facilities. Big institutes back east, they did not have them, and they suffered. My friends suffered, and they suffered terribly because, and I'm hearing just the saddest and the worst stories from my colleagues who are going to have PTSD from this experience. So we have to be the next time totally prepared. It might have to be the next wave that takes place, and we have to be aware that could happen. I, as a scientist and as a doctor, see that occurring. And so we have to be prepared. We, want to try to make sure that our doctors who are saving lives and nurses saving lives are not impacted, but they will be, I guarantee it. But we have to have set up so the way that we have the PPEs, and the ventilators and everything else that is necessary to fight this battle until we have a cure, until we have a vaccine, until we are better able to handle this and not worry about it hitting the media, and then they exacerbate it even more. So it's going to be out there, and it's going to be not an easy task. But my colleagues are fighting the fight. I'm proud of them with the hope that they will continue to save lives. And that's what they have always been responsible in their work and profession in doing.
I thought they were provided with lots and lots of ventilators on the East Coast.
Yeah, not at the time. We had to get out the manufacturers, and this is what I'm saying. We're going to have to pull the chess game, moving things around, which I think is easily done with the computers, because there's going to be flare-ups here and there, and we send the equipment where it's needed. But no, they were faced many a times, not as bad as Italy. Italy was our wake-up call, and because we had our Italian and even Chinese doctors who were giving us the warning sign, the warning call, they did so well in getting the word out to make sure that we didn't have a huge catastrophe in our country.
Wow.
Yeah. So a happy note in a certain way, but a sad note. But, Dr. Thomas Polucki, you've always, brought your heart to our radio show. You've always made sure that our seniors, our older adults, understood what the things and problems that are being faced, and you continue to do that. And I'm, so happy that as one of my colleagues, you have made sure that the awareness necessary comes on this show with you, and then that hope that you've always given us survives as well. So, thanks for your help. Thanks for bringing the word out to so many of the seniors in our community. It's something that is not easy to do, but you have done it for so many and helped them as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Thomas Polucki. How about some contact information?
Absolutely, my pleasure. 661-753-9340.
Great. Thomas Polucki, we appreciate your being on the show. We are sponsored by Comfort Keepers In-Home Care and Advanced Audiology. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.
Business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue. Stop by or call today. 661-678-0508.